Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about a new build for War vs World Zerg fight, and this build is the support Spellbreaker. The support Spellbreaker already existed, but it didn't really have support options in the weapon sets. So now, since the stuff came into the game like 1 week ago, we can have a support option in the weapon, because the stuff has a good amount of boons, also a lot of regeneration, some Aegis, some protection, and also a lot of AoE cleanses and heals. Most importantly, in the F1 you have a lot of heals and you can spam it with the Spellbreaker because your F2 will reset it. So I am not still sure about the secondary weapon set, like you will play staff for sure. The secondary weapons set could be maybe hammer for the additional CCs and boon strip, or maybe sword plus Warhorn, or maybe dagger plus Warhorn for some strips without denying the Warhorn support. In this build I will cover the dagger variant because I already tested the sword as you played in the past, but the sword doesn't really satisfy me because the only good skill is the skill 2, which is a leap and it helps you engage or disengage, but except for that it doesn't really provide a lot of stuff. And also the F1 on the sword, it can apply the immobilize and it's nice, but that immobilize only works on your first hit of your F1, so it's not really worth it in my opinion. We can go dagger for some additional boon strip. While I was testing and preparing the build, I was thinking like in my head, what can this build do? Like what is the role? And I compared it to the support Scourge, which is currently meta in the current War vs World squad compositions, but that class will be kinda hard nerfed in like 2 weeks from now, so maybe it will get out of meta and maybe this build can get a spot in the meta. So what I wanted to do is provide some boons, some barrier, a lot of boon strips. Since most of the DPS classes are like pure DPS now, you don't see a lot of Virtuosos or Chronomancers or Reaper or Scourge in DPS variant. So this class maybe can replace the Scourge because it can provide barriers, cleanses, utilities, CCs, boon rip, so this is the role. You cannot replace the Firebrand, for example, which is the primary support, of course, because you can't give stability. And also you cannot replace any other secondary support like the heal Vindicator, the support Tempest, the support Druid, because their heals and cleanses are just too high and you cannot catch up to them. So this class will be a third support if this support meta is still keeping going. The build uses Discipline, Tactics and Spellbreaker. On Discipline we have this minor trait, which is very important because we will need a lot of adrenaline to use our F1s and F2. Here I chose to go Stalwart Focus because here I can increase the healing to other allies by 10%, which is nice. We have a lot of heals in the staff. Then here we have 5 seconds recharge time on our weapon swap, which is huge, especially if you use it with the Versatile Rage, which has a 4 seconds cooldown, so you can really get a lot of adrenaline with these 2 traits combined. Here I get double standards, banners grant resolution to allies when they are dropped, pulsing boons applied through banners last longer, so basically there is this banner which provides resistance, and so 50% more resistance, yes please, let's have it. And also the other 2 traits are kinda useless, so I would just go double standards. I know you see a second banner here, I am not sure if you should be using this, I will explain it later. And also this banner will provide regeneration, which is a very common boon, so this trait here is mostly for the banner of tactics and not the banner of defense. Here we have gain might on weapon swap, burst skill, gain reduced recharge, very nice to spam our F1 and F2 even more, and also some might, and I will say later why might is very important on this class. And then we have burst mastery, which will grant us back some adrenaline when we use our F1 or F2, so like 1/3 of the adrenaline spent, which is huge. On tactics we have marching orders, periodically gain Soldier's Focus. Hitting with a burst skill expands Soldier's Focus to grant might to nearby allies. So 3 stacks of might every 10 seconds for a duration of 10 seconds. So it's like permanent 3 stacks of might to your whole party. Then here we have Warhorn skills, apply additional boons, your concentration is increased, so additional boon duration, and also our skill 4 from the Warhorn will grant 5 seconds of resistance, and the skill 4 will grant 8 seconds of fury. Fury is oftentimes overlooked, and it's mostly absent in the current meta, except maybe for like the druid, which can provide a lot of fury. Then we have Empower Allies. While we are in combat, we will pulse 5 stacks of might once every 10 seconds. So basically this can provide almost 10 stacks of might permanently, because the might duration is insane. And so now we get to the next trait, which is Phalanx Strength. When you grant yourself might, you also grant it to nearby allies. So as you can see, we already have might on the weapon swap. Also our banners, no, actually no, the banners not provide might, so we have might on weapon swap, we have might on our skill, on our marching orders, other 3 stacks of might, then we have might from Empower Allies, then we have 2 blast skills here, which are Charge and Call of Valor. So if you blast a might field, a fire field, you will get 3 stacks of might for you, and then grant 3 stacks of might to your allies because of the blast, and then additional 3 stacks to your allies because you have this trait. And also we have some might on the skill 2 from the staff, so this is 3 stacks for us and for our allies, and then 3 additional stacks to our allies because of the Phalanx Strength trait. So basically we can provide alone, I think, around 20 or 25 stacks of might if you play it well, you press your skills properly, and when they are off cooldown. On the Spellbreaker, we run No Escape, Dazes and Stuns, Inflict Immobilize. The other 2 traits are kinda useless, and also we have a Daze on our F2, and also our skill 3 on the Dagger. This was especially good if you run Hammer, because the Hammer has stun on the F1, it's an AoE stun, very huge. Then here we have basically every CC will remove 1 boon, which is very good, and I will explain in a bit why. Here removing boon from a foe deals damage, very low damage, but still gives you adrenaline, and we will need a lot of adrenaline, so this is why we run Break Enchantments and also Winds of Disenchantments and also the Dagger, because removing boons will generate adrenaline to us and we can spam our F1 and F2 even more. Here we have the most important trait on the Spellbreaker, Full Counter refreshes all burst skills on hit. So basically you will use your F1, then you will charge your F2, and if the enemies will hit that F2, you will counter attack, and if that counter attack will land on the enemy, you will reset your F1 fully. So you can really go F1, F2, F1 in like a matter of 2 seconds. It's very good to have and to know. The last trait, but not least, is the Enchantment Collapse. Whenever we remove a boon from an enemy, we will remove an additional boon from 5 enemies around that target. So this is why it's very huge to have this trait, because every CC will remove 1 boon if the enemy gets stunned or dazed or knockback. Like if the enemy has a stability, this trait will not proc. So this is a very important trait, because also the Break Enchantments, you see, you will remove 1 boon from 5 targets. With this trait, you will remove 2 boons. This effect has a 1 second internal cooldown, so it also works with these Winds of Disenchantments, and also it will work with the Dagger skill 3, because it is a daze, and if you daze, you will remove a boon, and if the boon is removed, you will remove an additional boon with Enchantment Collapse. The same goes for the F1 on the Dagger, which will remove 3 boons. So you remove 3 boons from a target, so an additional boon is removed from 5 other targets. And the same goes for the F2, because it is a daze and it's also unblockable. So if this daze will land on an enemy which has no stability, you will remove a boon, and so consequently you will remove 5 additional boons from 5 additional targets, 1 per target of course. So I think this build has the potential. I am not still sure about the weapon sets. Maybe you should be running Hammer instead of Warhorn and Dagger, but I think you would lose too much support in the Warhorn, because the Warhorn has Barrier here, Resistance and Vigor, and also 3 Conde removal, and is a combo finisher Blast. The skill 4 will remove Chill, Cripple, Immobilize, and grant Swiftness, Quickness, Fury, and is a combo finisher Blast. So maybe the Warhorn is needed, the staff is needed, so the debate is just about the main weapon set, the main hand weapon in the Warhorn set. So you can choose from Sword and Dagger, but Sword provides almost nothing, so in my opinion just run Dagger. The gears are full Minstrel, because we will need toughness and vitality to stay alive. Healing power is very needed, because healing power, as you might already know, affects also the barrier we provide, so I think you should just go for healing power. And then we run the superior rune of the monk, which provides boon duration and the healing power. The other good rune is the superior rune of the water, which provides less healing power but more boon duration, and it's here, you see. It has no 125 healing, but it has 10% boon duration more compared to the monk rune. In my opinion, just go monk. On the dagger we run superior sigil of life, because the additional healing power works also with barrier, instead of the superior sigil of benevolence, which doesn't work for the barriers. Then we have the Warhorn, superior sigil of transference, additional healing. And then we have the staff, transference and nullification. The nullification sigil could sound a bit of a meme, but on the Spellbreaker it's very good, because as I already said, whenever you remove a boon from an enemy, you will remove an additional boon from 5 other enemies, and this effect is also unblockable, of course. So let's say you will remove 1 boon every 5 seconds. Let's say the fight lasts 30 seconds, which is very short, because the meta right now is very tanky, so it's like 6 boons removed by this superior sigil of nullification. And also you will proc this thingy here like 6 additional times, so it's like 30 boons, 36 total, 6 from the superior sigil of nullification and 30 from this one. I chose to put the superior sigil of nullification on the staff, because the 80% of the fight you will be staying staff, because the staff has really low cooldowns, they align pretty well, it works, like it feels very fluid and it's very nice to have. I'm very happy about the staff, so just run staff with the superior sigil of nullification. If you feel you will need more boon rip, maybe just go nullification even on the Warhorn instead of the superior sigil of transference. All the trinkets are of course minstrel. The relic is the relic of the herald. If you feel you need additional healing, you could go for for the relic of the monk, sorry, not rune. I like herald because, as you can see, you can get 250 concentration whenever you apply boons, and you see how much your boon duration increases, like 82.5 instead of 65, just with the stacks, 10 stacks of herald relic. So in my opinion, it's very good to provide more resistance, more regeneration, more protection, and so on. Now let's take a look at the weapon skills. Let's start from the staff, which is the newest one. So it has a kinda smooth out attack. The last hit of the out attack is kinda slower, but it will apply damage in AoE around you, and most importantly, regeneration. You will be using sometimes this out attack because you will have everything else on cooldown. It's nice to have. You have additional regeneration, which is a very common boon, but still it's better than not having it. The skill 2 is a combo finisher leap. It will provide, it's also used for the mobility. If you are in a bad situation, you can use it. You see, you do this. You will provide healing on your allies, damage on your enemies, 3 stacks of might to your allies, which become 6 stacks on your allies because of the Palang strength. And also some fury, so you can basically provide 25 stacks of might totally in this build, and permanent fury with your skills from the Warhorn and the staff. And also you will get adrenaline if you heal an ally, and of course you will do it because you will use it in the Zerg and trying to hit enemies and allies at the same time. Your skill 3 will provide a lot of healing in an area, then protection, Aegis, and also stacks of unblockable to you and your allies, and also it will grant weakness to enemies. It has a fairly high cooldown, but it's very good. As you can see, this is not a leap, it's like the skill 5 from the sword, the great sword, sorry, it just works there, so you are very vulnerable during it, but just cast it under your feet, so you reduce the cast time by the most you can. The skill 4 is a pull in front of you. You see, you pull enemies. It's very similar to the Great Sword 5 from the Reaper or from the Scourge. It has lower range, but still it's decent to have. It's also a CC, and if you manage to pull an enemy which has no stability, you will remove 1 boon and then 5 additional boons from targets around that enemy. So let's take a look also at the skill 3 under your feet. You see, very fast, you don't need to move, it's like almost instant. Then the skill 5, basically you will block for 2 seconds, and the most blocks you can get during these blocks, the most healing you will provide with the secondary skill from the skill 5, which as you can see provides a lot of heal around you, which is further increased by every block you have. You see the Defiant Roar, you can use it for like 2 or 3 seconds after you block with the skill 5. You provide like 3k heals around you, and also additional healing, like 600 healing around you per block. Maximum blocks are like 3 stacks, sorry, maximum 3 stacks. And also you will get a lot of adrenaline and resolution with this, and it's very nice to have the additional adrenaline because we will need it for the F1 and the F2, as I already said like 4 times in this video, but it's very needed to use adrenaline properly and to have a lot of adrenaline almost all the time. So now let's take a look at the most important staff skill, which is the F1, which has a huge AoE around you. It will provide a lot of heal, some damage to enemies, and also regeneration to your allies and to yourself. This is very good because it can be reset with the F2. If you get hit by enemies during the F2, you will reset fully your F1 and you will get adrenaline back, so you can press it again. As you can see, it heals for like 2k without modifiers, so maybe you will heal for like 3k in a real fight. So you can F1 and heal for 3k, F2, and then the F1 resets, you can use it again and you can heal for 3k again. So this is kinda huge to have, it's a very good burst healing skill. Let's take a look at the Dagger and Warhorn. Dagger gives might to yourself on the 3rd chain of the auto attack, and this might is of course shared with your allies thanks to Phalanx strength. The skill 2 is kinda slow, it doesn't apply bone removal or dazes or stuns or anything else, and is a single target, so I wouldn't be recommending using it because you will be very vulnerable during the cast. The skill 3 will provide a daze on the enemy, single target, it's very melee. It's still better than anything than not having it, so use it when you are melee during a fight. You can daze the enemy, and if the enemy gets dazed, it will get also immobilized, and it will get a boon removed, and then 5 other boons will be removed from 5 targets around that target, so it's decent to have. The F1 is this leap, which removes 3 boons from the enemies, from 1 enemy. It's also unblockable, which is huge because there is a lot of Aegis in War vs World. So you go F1, you remove 3 boons, and then you remove an additional boon from 5 targets around that target. So it's huge to have. On the skill 4 we have conditions removed, cripple, chill, immobilize, and then you also grant swiftness, quickness and fury. And it is also a combo finisher blast, very good skill for your Condi cleanses. The skill 5 will provide a lot of barrier on your allies and on yourself. It's also a combo finisher blast, you will get a lot of resistance, a lot of vigor and 3 conditions removed. What I would be suggesting using in the Warhorn is first your skill 4, because it will remove cripple, chill and immobilize from your allies up here. And then once you removed those conditions, you will press your skill 5, which will remove additionally 3 conditions. So by using first the skill 4 and then the skill 5, you will not risk using the cleanse from the skill 5 for the cripple, chill and immobilize. Like let's say you go skill 5, you will remove cripple, chill and immobilize as conditions, because you are very unlucky. Then you go to Warhorn skill 4, you want to press it, but the allies will have already cripple, immobilized and shield removed by the skill 5. So you will lose like 3 condic lenses per target. So what you have to do is skill 4, remove cripple, chill, immobilize, and then remove 3 additional conditions if your allies have them, of course. These are the utility skills I chose. They are not final. Maybe the banner of defense can be changed. I'm not still very sure, but still it can provide a lot of barrier. So let's get into it. The healing skill is to the limit because it provides a huge heal. Also 30 of adrenaline and 100 endurance. So you press it, you grant 2 dodges to you and to your allies, and also full adrenaline to yourself. This is the best skill for the warrior as a healing skill, and there is no doubt. Then we have the banner of tactics. When you place it, you will grant 5 seconds of super speed to you and to your allies, and also stability. The stability also works for your allies, and also you will provide initial resolution, like 8 seconds of resolution, and most importantly you will pulse resistance around you. So basically combined with your skill 5 from the Warhorn, you will grant permanent resistance to you and to your allies, unless that resistance gets stripped all the time. But the banner of tactics is very strong because it lasts for 15 seconds and it will reapply resistance, like it doesn't apply a big stack of resistance once. So even if it gets stripped, you can reapply it in 3 seconds, so you have constant resistance uptime, and it's very good to have. Then we have the banner of defense. I picked this because it provides an Aegis at the start to you and to your allies, and also resolution of course, and like 5k barrier, which is huge, and then it will pulse regeneration, which is a very common boon, as I already said, so it's not really needed. I picked the banner of defense because of the Aegis, and most importantly because of the 5k barrier. And if you combine your like 4k and a half from Call of Valor, which is your Warhorn skill 5, and then you use it, you see 4k barrier, and then you also go for the banner of defense, you go like 9k barrier only with these 2 skills, and you can survive every enemy burst basically. So I think they synergize it pretty well. If you don't like the banner of defense, maybe you can go for Shake It Off, which is a break stun for you and your allies, and also it will remove 4 conditions from you and your allies, which is huge, but the condi removal aspect should be covered by druids, heal vindicators, and also support tempests if there are some. So in my opinion, Shake It Off is a bit of an overkill for the condi cleanses. Just go, in my opinion, for now, banner of defense, because what you have to do is making your party staying alive, giving them barriers and heals. Then we run break enchantments. It's a big AoE around you, which provides a boon removal to enemies, and also it's unblockable, a lot of adrenaline if you remove boons because of this trait, and also an additional boon is removed because enchantment collapse trait. For the elite skill, some people could like to go battle standard. It will revive targets or stomp enemies and provides boons. It has a very big cooldown, but it can really change the fights. In my opinion, since we are trying to replace the support Scourge, we could just go for Winds of Disenchantments, because it's a big AoE, huge AoE, which is also unblockable, and it will remove boons from enemies and also reduce any boon duration from the enemy by 33%. It used to be 100% and it was very strong to have. It's like a better Ghastly Breach because it's unblockable, like the Ghastly Breach from the Scourge. This one is a better version of it, but if you need the stomps or the revives on your allies, just go for the battle standard, which is also very strong. The AoE is very big, but in my opinion, Winds of Disenchantments is the better option, like 7 times out of 10. So it's your choice. You need more strips, go Winds of Disenchantments. You need to revive your allies or to stomp the enemies. Maybe you can't finish enemies, like you down them and then they get transfused by Scourges. Okay, go battle standard so you can stomp them. This is a very decent fight to show you how it works. So basically this fight is in a choke point, so it's very easy to land your support skills. There is not much moving around, and also this meta doesn't favor moving. You just Chinese tank everything, so let's get into it. So what you have to do, Most of the time you will be casting your banner of defense before the fight starts, because so you will provide those 5k of barrier to everyone and they are covered from enemies burst. Then I already used my skill 4 here to try to pull enemies. I failed it, it's okay. Then at this point you could be using your skill 2 and skill 3 for might, regeneration, protection, aegis and also unblockable stacks. So I go skill 5, the enemies are engaging now, so I choose to cast my banner of tactics. Be sure you cast your banner of tactics on the location your Zerg is gonna stay for the next seconds, so they will benefit fully from the resistance effects and reapplications. So now the fight is about to clash here. We have resistance. At this point I also used my skill break enchantments, which is huge to remove boons. I have cancelled my elite skill, it's okay. I cancelled it I think on purpose because the enemies are very far from me still. Then I use my skill F1 to heal allies around me. Then the F2, and the F2 reset my F1. I F1 again to heal again. At this point the enemies are coming to us and it's the best time to use my bubble, my elite skill, and they eat every pulse of it. Then I used my skill 3 and my skill 2 because I had nothing left. Also skill 4 for a pull. And then you see I camp stuff a lot, but as you can see you always have your F1 ready because it has like 7 seconds of cooldown. So you F1, F2, F1 again. Then you have 7 seconds. During these 7 seconds you can use your weapon skills from 1 to 5, and then the F1 is ready again, and then you have your utility skills ready again. So it's kinda a loop which forces you on this stuff for most of the time. Maybe it's just skill issues by me, but I found that playing stuff most of the time is very fluid and rewarding. You see F1, F2, F1 again. I used my to the limit so I could refill my adrenaline and also endurance. F1 again, break enchantments, a bit wasted because I was very far. I have the skill 2 ready again, the skill 5 is ready, I block attacks, then I press it again to heal AoE around me. I have banner of defense ready again, cast it on the Zerg, you see like 8k barrier total now. F1, F2, F1 again, and you have 4, 3 and 2 ready again. So you see the stuff is just very good to play, it feels very good to play, very smooth, very fluid and rewarding. The numbers on the healings are just not that big, but these healings don't consider the barrier. Also in this squad I was in a party with a chronomancer and with a heal vindicator, so they stole every heal. And also I didn't have the best stability because I had no firebrand. But still I think this class can perform really decently. Banner of tactics again, we are stopping around here, we have a lot of resistance on us. I swap, in this case I was running a sword because I was testing, I think the dagger would be better. You see I am on sword, I don't know what to press because every skill is almost useless. So I will swap back to the staff, F1 to heal, F2, my F2 didn't hit enemies, so it will not reset the F1. Break enchantments, skill 3, skill 2, you see, just cast every skill from the staff, skill 5 for the blocks, skill 5 again to AoE heal, F1, F2 resetting the F1, I cast again my banner of defense, and at this point the fight is over. The enemies are cracking, we are going on to them, they are trying to run, they just start downing, F1 again, and the fight is over. Okay guys, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This build maybe will not be meta, maybe this is not the final version of this build, but I think you can already learn something from this video. And maybe the only thing I would change is maybe the weapon set, but I don't think it should be doing it, because the hammer, okay, it provides a lot of CCs in the F1, but most of the time your F2 will be used to reset your F1 on the staff, so you will have an F1 on the hammer and then the skill 4 on the hammer as CCs. So in my opinion you could just go Warhorn, which provides a lot of more support, Condi cleanses, barrier, quickness, resistance, fury. So and also combo finisher blasts. I have several builds in mind and I will post them in the near future. I will keep you updated. Please consider leaving a like and a subscribe to support the channel. And also check the timestamps in the video description so you can browse on this video properly. Thank you for watching again, guys, and thank you for the 2K subscribers. It really means the world to me. I'm very happy about it. I wouldn't have imagined ever to reach this goal, which is really huge for me. I'm a small creator. Guild Wars is not the biggest game. So again, thank you so much. See you on to the next video and have a great night. Bye.